All right, the call is single back, play action, go to the tight end. What do you mean he's not here? He ran one play today. Get him back out here. He can go to a party later. Well, who's ready now? We can't pass it to our tackle. Why don't we just ask our quarterback to kick a field goal then? No! Masters of the Gridiron is a two-player card game designed by the folks at Mogul Inc., the same company that has brought us the baseball and football Mogul games on the PC over the years. Now, in Masters of the Gridiron, each player will take control of a professional football team that has its own unique players and a customized deck of playbook cards based on how that team actually played out over the year. Over the course of 9 rounds, players will alternate on offense and defense, and whoever has the most points at the end of the 9 rounds wins the game. Very simply, during a round, starting with the visiting team, they're going to play a playbook card, see which skills are required for that, match it up with one of their offensive players, announce the skill total to the defensive player, and then the other player is going to try to match or exceed that number with one of their own defensive players. If they're able to do that, they'll keep the points off the board. But hey, it's actually a lot easier to show you how a round plays out than to talk about it. So let's head on down to the field. New England is visiting New Orleans, so they'll have the ball first. So when the game begins, each player is going to draw 3 offensive player cards, 3 defensive player cards, and then 4 playbook cards. So then you'll go through your cards and try to match them up as best you can with the players that you have available. So right now we have this field goal card that's going to give us a bonus to pass blocking if we use a tight end. So we'll use Gronkowski, and his pass blocking is normally a 60, but this gives us a bonus of 10. So we announce to our opponent, field goal 70 that can be stopped by coverage or pass rush. Then New Orleans will look at their defensive player cards that they drew, and we see that they do not have anything that is over a 70. So it was good that we used a card with his bonus. So they have to use somebody, so they would put a player in their defensive player discard pile. The play stands, so we leave the card up, and New England goes up 3-0. At the end of the round, you fill your hand back up, so we draw a play card, and then another offensive player card, and then New Orleans would have a chance to go on offense. The way that you keep track of the rounds of the game is these are going to go around your cards, and then when you have your 9th card out, that's when you know that the game is over. All right, let's show you one more example of a play. We'll try another field goal, and it's using rushing or run blocking, and we'll have Shane Vereen. So it's a field goal 58 that can be stopped by run defense. So New Orleans looks at their card, and they have a player that has a run defense of 63, which beats it. And so in that case, you just simply flip the card over to show that no points were scored. So now how the teams are going to play differently is that they're actually based on their real-life counterparts. So the playbook's going to reflect how much they scored in real life and what plays they generally called. And then there's also, each team's going to have some combination of team and defensive play cards that will add their own bonuses to each of the plays. Now, these cards can be played in addition to the defensive and offensive player card that you use each round. Now, there's one other play type that I didn't discuss yet, and that's the ability to punt when you're on offense. And how you would do that, you would put a play card and a offensive player that doesn't have a matching skill, and then you would just announce to the defense that you're punting. You put the card face down to show that there's no score. The defensive player still has to discard a defensive player, and then play would move on as normal. Why would you ever want to punt? Well, at some point you might find yourself holding a hand of cards where you'd have a very low play score, or you might just want to hold off on having a key player instead of using them, say, for a field goal, and you want to hold off until you draw a corresponding touchdown. But as well as that, there's also some defensive play cards that come with certain teams that actually allows them to score a touchdown if they stop a play by a certain amount of points. So you could avoid that by playing the punt card. Now, there's also another way that you can play this game, and that's a draft league. If you'll notice in the top corner of each of the player cards, they have a dollar amount. Simply, every GM gets $100 million. They get to draft their team, draft their playbook the way they see fit, and then see who is the better GM. Now, the game also comes with a couple sheets of rules of how you can generate stats from each of the games. So if that was something you were really interested in, you could see how your player performed over a season of play with this game. So there's a look at Masters of the Gridiron. And as you can see, this is a very easy game to set up, explain, and to play. You can get a match in about 20 minutes. And even if you want to do a 2 out of 3, it's something you could very easily do within an hour's time. There is a deck available for every team from last year, and the company is also looking into producing some historic teams and also some Pro Bowl teams for later on down the road. So there's a lot of upside to this game aside from how easy it is to get into. The game is going to give you the feel of a professional football game due to the unique player cards and the customized playbooks with each team. And there's also that sense of strategy of holding on to your key player for just the right play, or also the frustration of not having that key player in your hand when you really need them. Now, on the downsides for the game, while there is strategy involved, it's certainly not as deep as some of the other tabletop football games that I've covered. And while there is the ability to do a season playthrough and generate stats for it, I really don't think that this is the kind of game that you would want to do that with. Because where this game shines is being able to just pull out your deck of cards, having your friend pull out his deck of cards, and then having a quick 20-minute match and see who wins. And then if you can get a couple friends together to do a draft league, I think that that's something that would certainly extend the life of this game. Really a lot to like here. Fun, quick, easy to play. Head on over to the Sports Mogul page and check out Masters of the Gridiron. Alright guys, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. My name's Steve, and I'll see you next time after further review.